Hello friends. Have you ever wondered what truly defines people born on March 23rd? Not just in terms of their zodiac sign, but also through numerology, ancient traditions, and even mystical systems like the Celtic druids, Vedic astrology, flower horoscopes, and stone symbolism. Today we're diving deep into the layered personality of those who entered the world on this special date. Think of this as a spiritual biography written in the stars, numbers, and symbols that surround March 23rd. The zodiac core, Aries on fire. To be born on March 23rd is to carry the torch of Aries energy in its purest and freshest form. Imagine the first day of true spring. The air is alive with crisp possibility, the earth is pushing green shoots upward, and the world seems to whisper that beginnings are sacred. People of this day embody that spirit. They are like sparks on dry kindling, sudden, radiant, and impossible to ignore. Aries itself is the zodiac's pioneer, the very first sign, the one that does not wait for permission but instead blazes into uncharted ground. Yet those who arrive on March 23rd carry a specific tone, one that distinguishes them from Aries born later in April. Their fire is not yet the heavy blaze of summer but rather the quick, dancing flame of early spring. It is youthful, almost innocent in its enthusiasm, as if they are compelled to rediscover the world each morning. They are initiators in every sense of the word, often the first to speak up in a room, the first to take a leap when opportunity appears, or the first to stand for a cause when others are still hesitating. Their courage is instinctive rather than calculated. It does not arise from careful strategy but from an unshakable belief that action itself brings clarity. At the heart of March 23rd Aries lies an endless curiosity. Where others hesitate, they leap, not because they are reckless, but because the idea of staying still feels more dangerous than motion. Their optimism is contagious, lifting those around them into believing that more is possible, that limits are only temporary illusions. They are explorers of both the outer world and their own inner landscapes. Whether trying a new sport, traveling to a far-off country, or starting an entirely new business venture, they are driven by a compulsion to say yes to life. This vitality is not without its complications. Just as a flame can warm or burn, their energy can uplift or overwhelm. In their best moments, they are the friend who inspires courage, the colleague who sparks innovation, the lover who reignites passion. In their more challenging moods, they may come across as impatient, restless, or demanding, expecting others to keep up with their pace. They can burn out quickly, leaping into projects with fiery determination and then abandoning them when the novelty fades. But even these tendencies reflect the truth of March 23rd Aries. They are designed not to sustain every single flame forever but to ignite new fires in places where stagnation reigns. What makes this date so fascinating is its blend of innocence and audacity. Later Aries can grow more focused, even combative in their drive to conquer. But March 23rd individuals bring a lighter touch, a playfulness that softens their boldness. They often have a mischievous smile, a way of laughing at their own risks, as though to remind us that life should be enjoyed, not simply endured. When you meet someone born this day, you feel as though spring has walked into the room, vibrant, alive, and impossible not to notice. The essence of their soul mission is to start things, to break old cycles, to open doors, to plant seeds that others may later tend. They are not afraid of being first, of standing out, or of carrying the responsibility that comes with leadership. Even when they do not seek titles or formal authority, people tend to follow their energy naturally, sensing that they hold the courage others long to access. That is why March 23rd Aries are so often remembered not for how long they stayed on a particular path but for the fact that they dared to begin it in the first place. Love and romance. When it comes to love, March 23rd Aries are anything but lukewarm. Their hearts beat fast, their passions run deep, and their approach to romance is marked by intensity, spontaneity, and a fearless willingness to dive headfirst into connection. For them, love is not a slow negotiation but a blazing adventure, an irresistible spark that turns ordinary life into something extraordinary. They are lovers who fall quickly, sometimes after only a glance, swept up by the thrill of attraction and the promise of discovery. But their way of loving is not purely physical or superficial. Beneath their impulsive declarations and daring gestures lies a soul that longs for passion in its purest form, the kind of bond that feels like dancing on the edge of fire. They want to feel alive in love, to sense that their partner awakens not just desire but also curiosity and challenge. With them, love is never static. It moves, shifts, grows, and reinvents itself, much like the flame that must always have new air to keep burning. Because of this, relationships with March 23rd Aries are often whirlwind experiences. At first, their lovers are dazzled by their openness. These Aries wear their hearts on their sleeves, unafraid to admit when they are smitten, unafraid to chase someone who excites them, and unafraid to risk rejection if it means even a chance at romance. This directness is refreshing in a world where many hide behind games or hesitation. To be pursued by a March 23rd Aries is to feel unmistakably wanted. Yet their intensity has a shadow side, restlessness. If the relationship falls into routine, if the days begin to feel too predictable, they may start seeking stimulation elsewhere. It is not that they are inherently unfaithful. Rather, their souls crave novelty, excitement, and the sense that love is alive and moving. For a partner to hold their devotion, they must be willing to grow alongside them, to introduce new experiences, and to keep the spark alive not through control but through adventure. Surprisingly, despite their fiery impulses, March 23rd Aries can be deeply loyal once they commit. The secret is that they must choose a partner who fuels their energy rather than suppressing it. When they find someone who admires their independence, supports their dreams, and occasionally matches their daring, they will give their whole heart. Their love then transforms from a fast-burning flame into a steady fire that provides warmth, light, and inspiration. The best zodiac matches for them are signs that share their appetite for excitement. Leo and Sagittarius ignite their adventurous spirit, creating relationships full of laughter, passion, and shared goals. Gemini, with its quick wit and mental agility, keeps Aries constantly entertained and intellectually engaged. Libra, though very different in temperament, often becomes a fascinating counterpart. Where Aries rushes in, Libra weighs options. Together they create a balance between fire and air, action and reflection, passion and diplomacy. In love, March 23rd Aries will always be remembered as the one who changed the tempo of the heart. They are the partners who write love letters in the middle of the night, who plan spontaneous trips just to see their beloved smile, who fight fiercely when hurt but forgive just as quickly. To love them is to live in color, never in grayscale. They teach their partners that romance is not about safety or comfort but about feeling vibrantly alive. And though they may stumble through impatience or impulsivity, their sincerity is undeniable. When they say, "I love you," they mean it with every spark of their fiery soul. Marriage and commitment. Marriage, for those born on March 23rd, is never a dry contract or a social formality. It is a grand adventure, a living journey filled with sparks, surprises, and shared dreams. To them, the idea of commitment is not about being tied down but about finding someone who can dance with them through life's storms and triumphs, who can match their pace, and who will never ask them to dim the flame of their individuality. Their approach to marriage carries the same vibrancy as their Aries core. It is bold, full of playfulness, and infused with enthusiasm for what lies ahead. When a March 23rd soul enters marriage, they do so with an open heart and immense energy. They want their relationship to feel alive, dynamic, constantly moving toward new horizons. For them, love is not about reaching a destination where everything becomes predictable. Rather, it is about creating a bond where each day holds potential for growth, discovery, and renewal. They want to wake up next to their spouse not out of habit but out of excitement, that sense of, what will we conquer together today? This does not mean they lack depth or seriousness in commitment. Quite the opposite, they take their vows to heart and feel deeply the responsibility of partnership. But their loyalty flourishes when the marriage remains a space where both partners breathe freely. They rebel against controlling dynamics, against any form of domination or routine that strips away joy. The Aries fire within them insists on individuality, both their own and their spouse's. They cannot imagine love where freedom is absent, because for them freedom is not the right to leave, but the right to grow, to evolve, and to still be one's true self within the sacred union. March 23rd individuals bring playfulness into their marriages in ways that surprise their partners. They are the type to plan spontaneous date nights, to inject humor into daily life, and to turn even arguments into opportunities for passionate reconciliation. They do not fear conflict. In fact, disagreements can become fiery but short-lived storms, quickly followed by laughter and reconnection. Their partners must understand that their intensity in argument comes not from malice but from the same fiery energy that fuels their love. The perfect spouse for someone born on this date is not necessarily the calmest or the most traditional person, but rather someone who can stand beside their fire without being consumed by it. They need a companion who admires their ambition, applauds their wild ideas, and occasionally jumps into daring adventures with them, whether it's traveling to a new country with little planning, starting a business from scratch, or reinventing family traditions in bold ways. A controlling or overly cautious spouse will clash with their restless energy, while a supportive, adventurous partner will help their marriage become a vibrant, lifelong story. Ultimately, marriage for March 23rd Aries is about partnership in the truest sense. Two individuals walking together not because they have to, but because they genuinely choose to, day after day, flame after flame. Their greatest marital joy comes when they look at their spouse years later and still see a best friend, a co-conspirator, and an equal, someone with whom they continue writing chapters of adventure, love, and growth. Sexual energy. The sexual nature of those born on March 23rd is a reflection of their Aries essence, fiery, impulsive, and electric with vitality. For them, intimacy is not a carefully calculated act but a spontaneous explosion of passion. They approach sex with the same boldness they bring to life, diving in with enthusiasm, unafraid to express desire, unafraid to take risks, and unafraid to let the body speak louder than words. To a March 23rd soul, sexuality is a playground of connection. They crave intensity and authenticity, needing a partner who can meet them at the same level of energy. They dislike holding back. Instead, they want to experience passion in its fullest form, with no hesitation or inhibition. Their natural spontaneity makes them unpredictable in the bedroom, often introducing playfulness, surprises, and moments of unfiltered emotion. With them, intimacy is never boring. It is an adventure of exploration and discovery, every time. What excites them most, however, goes beyond the physical act. For these individuals, the true thrill of sex is the emotional conquest, the sense of deepening intimacy, of venturing into uncharted emotional and physical territory with their partner. They long for encounters that are not just about pleasure but about intensity, where vulnerability and desire intermingle, and where they feel fully alive in the presence of another. It is not uncommon for them to equate sexual energy with life energy itself, seeing it as a fire that fuels creativity, ambition, and personal transformation. Their drive is strong, often insatiable, and they thrive with partners who can keep up with their rhythm. They admire boldness in a lover, someone unafraid to match their passion, someone willing to experiment, someone who finds joy in the spontaneity of it all. Yet they also appreciate tenderness. Beneath their fiery impulses lies a heart that wants to feel not only the thrill of desire but also the security of being cherished. When their partner combines passion with genuine affection, they feel an intimacy that transcends the physical and touches the soul. For March 23rd Aries, sex is also playful. They love to laugh, to tease, to make intimacy lighthearted and fun as much as intense. Their humor often comes through even in passion, reminding their partners that intimacy should not be stiff or mechanical but alive and joyful. This playful streak makes them exciting lovers, ones who continually reinvent passion and keep the relationship buzzing with fresh energy. In their shadow, impatience can creep in. Sometimes they may rush intimacy, driven by sheer desire, without giving space to the slower rhythms of connection. But when they learn to balance their fire with patience, their sexual expression becomes not just passionate but profoundly fulfilling, both for themselves and for their partners. Above all, March 23rd individuals view sexuality as a sacred celebration of life's vitality. It is where body, heart, and spirit unite in an explosive dance of energy. With them, intimacy is never passive. It is a storm, a spark, a celebration. They are unforgettable lovers, not because of grand technique or perfection, but because they bring raw authenticity, fearless passion, and the full flame of their Aries soul into every embrace. Friendship and social bonds. Friendship, for those born on March 23rd, is not a quiet or casual thing. It is a force of nature, alive with the same fire and spontaneity that defines their Aries essence. They are magnetic by default, the kind of people who draw others into their orbit without even trying. Their laughter, their courage, and their boundless enthusiasm for life make them impossible to ignore. When they walk into a room, conversations brighten, energies lift, and suddenly the ordinary feels infused with possibility. Friends often describe them as the spark that lights up gatherings, the one who turns a dull evening into a story worth telling for years. To be close to a March 23rd Aries is to live with a constant sense of adventure. They are the type to call you at midnight with wild plans, a spontaneous road trip, a daring new activity, or even just a walk under the stars to talk about dreams. Their impulsive nature translates directly into the way they bond. They see friendship as an extension of life's adventures, a shared canvas on which to paint experiences, memories, and laughter. With them, there is always something happening, and the people around them are rarely left bored or uninspired. Yet, this very impulsiveness is both their gift and their challenge. Just as they jump into friendships quickly, swept up by excitement and connection, they can sometimes move on just as suddenly. Their attention shifts, their lives speed forward, and those unable to keep up may feel left behind. For some, this makes March 23rd individuals appear inconsistent, but in truth, it is rarely about lack of care. They simply follow the call of their restless spirit, moving toward new experiences as naturally as fire leaps from one log to another. Those who understand this rhythm, who accept that friendship with them is a dance of bursts and pauses, will find in them not a fleeting companion but a lifelong ally. What makes these individuals unforgettable friends is their loyalty once true bonds are formed. If they sense sincerity, if they feel they are loved for who they are and not for the excitement they bring, they will stand by their friends with fierce devotion. They are the ones who will defend you in a crowd, who will speak your name with pride, who will show up when you least expect it but need it most. Their energy, once anchored in real connection, becomes protective fire, warm, unwavering, and bright. Friendship with a March 23rd soul is also filled with encouragement. They are natural cheerleaders, quick to celebrate victories, however small, and to lift you when you stumble. Their optimism is contagious. They see potential in people and often inspire their friends to take risks they might otherwise avoid. It is common for someone close to them to suddenly find themselves pursuing dreams more boldly, simply because their March 23rd friend believed in them loudly and unapologetically. Of course, challenges remain. Their impatience sometimes shows in relationships, and they can grow frustrated with friends who hesitate or who resist change. Their bluntness, while honest, can come across as harsh to more sensitive souls. But those who learn to see past these fiery outbursts discover the deeper truth. These Aries speak directly because they care deeply, and their fiery honesty is often an act of respect. They do not waste time on false niceties, they give their energy to those they truly value. In the end, the social world of someone born on March 23rd is as vibrant and dynamic as they are. Their friendships are never static. They are alive, full of movement, challenges, laughter, and growth. To be their friend is to live a little closer to the edge of life's possibilities, sometimes exhausting, often exhilarating, but always unforgettable. Business and career. In the professional sphere, March 23rd individuals are defined by their restless drive for innovation, leadership, and meaningful challenge. Routine, repetition, and predictability are their enemies. Place them in a job that requires mechanical repetition, and you will soon see their fire dim, their energy scatter, and their attention drift elsewhere. They were not born to maintain the status quo. They were born to change it, to push against boundaries, to pioneer. Their Aries essence makes them natural leaders, the type who step forward when others hesitate. They are not afraid to be the first to try something new, even if it means risking failure. In fact, failure rarely intimidates them. They see mistakes as part of the process, stepping stones that bring them closer to success. This resilience, coupled with their boldness, makes them extraordinary entrepreneurs, inventors, artists, and performers. They thrive in careers where passion matters, where innovation is rewarded, and where their natural charisma can shine. March 23rd individuals have an uncanny ability to inspire teams and colleagues. Their enthusiasm is contagious, sparking motivation in those around them. Even in traditional workplaces, they often become the heartbeat of the group, the person who brings energy to meetings, who suggests daring strategies, or who convinces hesitant coworkers to take chances. Their creativity thrives under pressure, and they are quick to devise solutions others might overlook. But with all this drive comes a challenge: impatience. They want results quickly, and they want change yesterday. Their risk-taking can sometimes turn into recklessness, with leaps made before the landing is clear. This can cause setbacks, particularly if they refuse to pause and plan. However, when they learn to temper their fiery impulses with just enough strategy, their potential for success is enormous. They then embody not just the trailblazer but the visionary who actually builds lasting legacies. Networking comes naturally to them. With their charm, humor, and fearless conversational style, they can walk into a room full of strangers and walk out with allies, collaborators, and new opportunities. People are drawn to their authenticity, their boldness, and their ability to make even ambitious ideas sound possible. They rarely struggle to open doors. The challenge lies in choosing which doors are truly worth walking through. Career paths that suit them best often combine leadership with creativity. They might excel in technology startups, the arts, performance, politics, activism, or any field where they can break ground and make a mark. Many are drawn to careers where they can be their own boss, creating enterprises that reflect their vision. Others thrive in dynamic industries, media, design, innovation labs, entertainment, sports, where constant change keeps them alive. For March 23rd Aries, work is not just about earning a living. It is an extension of their identity, a field of play where their fiery energy can make tangible impact. They want to feel their work matters, that it brings something new to the world. When they find this alignment, they become unstoppable, achieving not just professional success but also personal fulfillment. In their careers, as in their lives, they are meant to lead by example, to show that courage is more powerful than fear, that risks are the soil from which innovation grows, and that a restless spirit, when channeled, can change industries, communities, even the world itself. The dark sides. Every flame, no matter how brilliant, casts a shadow, and those born on March 23rd are no exception. Their fiery Aries energy, so full of enthusiasm, courage, and creativity, can at times burn too hot, too fast, consuming not only themselves but also those around them. The same restless spirit that makes them pioneers can also make them impatient, impulsive, and prone to decisions that lack foresight. In their eagerness to move forward, they may leap before looking, and while this boldness often brings them adventure, it can also leave a trail of unfinished projects, broken plans, and relationships strained by their inability to pause. Impatience is perhaps their greatest challenge. Waiting feels unnatural to them. They crave instant results, immediate gratification, and swift changes. When progress is slow, they grow restless, frustrated, and sometimes reckless. This impatience can push them to abandon ventures just as they were about to bear fruit, robbing them of the long-term rewards their efforts might have achieved. In relationships, it can manifest as irritability, demanding energy, or a tendency to move on quickly if passion cools. For their loved ones, this intensity can be overwhelming, leaving them feeling as though they're constantly racing to keep up. Impulsivity is another shadow woven into their fire. Their decisions, though bold, often come without full consideration. They see a door and rush to open it, rarely checking what lies beyond. While this daring nature makes them brave and dynamic, it also makes them vulnerable to setbacks that could have been avoided with more reflection. Their tendency to act first and think later sometimes causes friction in friendships, careers, and partnerships, where stability and consistency are valued as much as innovation. There is also, at times, a streak of selfishness in their character. This is not the malicious kind of selfishness that seeks to harm others, but rather a self-centeredness born from their intense focus on their own passions, desires, and goals. They can become so caught up in their own pursuits that they forget to listen, to compromise, or to consider the needs of those around them. In relationships, this may lead others to feel unseen or unvalued, as though the March 23rd individual's fire leaves little room for anyone else's flame. Boredom is their constant enemy. If life feels repetitive, predictable, or stagnant, they quickly grow restless. This can drive them to abandon commitments, switch directions suddenly, or chase after new thrills without finishing what they've started. The result is a trail of unfinished projects, half-formed ideas, and fleeting connections that never reach their full potential. While their energy to begin is unmatched, their ability to sustain requires deliberate effort, something they often resist because consistency feels like confinement to their restless spirit. Perhaps the most destructive shadow of all is their tendency to burn bridges. Their fiery temper, though quick to ignite and quick to fade, can scorch relationships when unleashed in moments of anger. They are capable of saying words that cut deeply, of making decisions in anger that they later regret. Because they value independence so highly, they sometimes sever ties abruptly rather than working through conflict patiently. This impulsive detachment can cost them valuable friendships, opportunities, and partnerships that might otherwise have endured. And yet, even within these shadows lies the seed of growth. Their impatience can become drive if tempered with discipline. Their impulsivity can transform into courage when guided by wisdom. Their selfish focus can evolve into leadership when paired with empathy. The challenge for those born on March 23rd is not to extinguish their fire but to learn how to control its direction. When they embrace patience, when they allow ideas to mature and projects to develop, their flame shifts from a fleeting spark to a steady, sustainable light. They begin to see that consistency does not trap them, but rather empowers them, giving longevity to their brilliance, stability to their ventures, and depth to their relationships. Mastering this balance is their lifelong task, to be not just a fire that burns brightly for a moment, but a fire that endures, bringing warmth and illumination for years to come. Life goals. The destiny of those born on March 23rd is not quiet, hidden, or conventional. Their soul came into this world to blaze trails, to break barriers, to awaken courage in others through their example. They are here not merely to live but to live boldly, to show what it means to embrace life with full intensity, to carve paths where none existed before. Their mission is rooted in inspiration and leadership, in the ability to ignite the flames of possibility in others simply by being unapologetically themselves. At their core, these individuals seek self-expression. They long to show the world who they are, not through conformity or imitation, but through originality, creativity, and courage. Whether through art, innovation, entrepreneurship, politics, or personal endeavors, they crave opportunities to bring something new into existence. Their restless energy will not allow them to blend into the background. Instead, they push forward, demanding a life that reflects their passions, beliefs, and visions. Adventure is another defining goal of their life journey. They cannot be content with the ordinary or the repetitive. They must taste variety, explore horizons, and embrace challenges that push them beyond comfort zones. For them, adventure is not only about travel or risk-taking, but also about the willingness to constantly evolve, to reinvent themselves, and to chase dreams no matter how unconventional they seem. Their soul whispers that life is too short to play small, and they listen, again and again, even when the path is uncertain. Meaningful challenges call to them like a siren's song. Unlike many who avoid difficulty, March 23rd individuals thrive on it. They see challenges as opportunities to prove themselves, to test their courage, and to grow stronger. Obstacles are not deterrents but invitations, pushing them to rise higher and show what they are capable of. Their greatest sense of fulfillment often comes not from easy victories, but from battles fought with heart and won against the odds. This is why they are drawn toward fields where they can pioneer, where they can be first, where they can bring change. Technology appeals to their innovation, allowing them to shape the future with bold ideas. Art speaks to their need for self-expression, giving them a canvas for their unfiltered creativity. Politics and social movements stir their warrior spirit, offering a chance to fight for justice, progress, or reform. Spiritual exploration, too, holds appeal, for beneath their fiery nature lies a seeker's soul, curious about meaning, truth, and the unseen forces that guide life. Their ultimate life goal is to inspire others simply by living authentically. They want people to look at their choices, their risks, their fearless pursuit of dreams, and feel emboldened to do the same. Their story is not about quiet conformity, but about teaching others that courage is contagious, that boldness can be shared, and that a single spark can ignite countless flames. Yet, to achieve these goals fully, they must learn balance. Without patience, their ambitions scatter. Without consistency, their great beginnings fade before reaching fruition. Their destiny is not only to blaze but also to sustain, to show that fire can be both a flash of brilliance and a lasting light. When they align their energy with purpose, when they anchor their fire with discipline, they step fully into their mission. Leaders, inspirers, adventurers, and pioneers of the human spirit. For those born on March 23, life is not a waiting room, it is a frontier. Their goals are not to sit quietly or follow the rules, but to write new ones, to carve their own way, and to leave behind a legacy of passion, courage, and relentless pursuit of what makes the soul feel alive. Numerology of 23. In the language of numbers, every birth date carries a vibration, a rhythm that shapes the way a soul dances through life. For those born on March 23, the key lies in the number 5, derived from the sum of 2 and 3. While this may seem simple on the surface, in the world of numerology the number 5 is a living force, a symbol of freedom, change, and the boundless call of exploration. To live under this number is to carry within you an eternal wanderer, a seeker who is never content to stand still, a spirit that thrives on variety and movement. The number 5 is often called the traveler's number. It represents the wind, unpredictable, restless, and forever shifting direction. This energy flows directly into the lives of March 23 individuals, blending with their Aries fire to create personalities that are nearly impossible to contain. They crave new experiences, not as a luxury, but as a necessity of the soul. To repeat the same patterns day after day feels suffocating. They must reinvent, rediscover, and keep moving toward the next horizon. In many ways, they embody the archetype of the adventurer, always chasing the thrill of discovery, whether through travel, personal growth, or intellectual exploration. But the vibration of 5 is not only about movement, it is also about adaptability. Those born under this influence can shift and pivot faster than most, adjusting to new circumstances with resilience and courage. While others may resist change, clinging to the familiar, March 23 individuals often welcome it, even when it arrives uninvited. They understand instinctively that change is not the enemy but the pathway to growth. This adaptability gives them a kind of resilience that makes them appear almost untouchable. No matter how many times life shakes them, they always rise, often reinvented in brighter, bolder form. In numerology, 5 is also the number of communication. It rules over language, storytelling, persuasion, and the ability to connect ideas with people. This makes March 23 individuals natural communicators, not necessarily because they speak the most, but because when they speak, people listen. Their words carry enthusiasm, conviction, and authenticity. Whether they are telling a story around a dinner table, delivering a speech, or simply motivating a friend, their ability to influence through language is undeniable. They inspire action not by force, but by lighting up the imagination of those who hear them. This numerical vibration also blesses them with charisma. There is something magnetic about the way they carry themselves, a charm that feels unforced and natural. The number 5 has long been associated with seduction, not in a manipulative sense, but as an energy that draws others closer. People are captivated by their spirit, their zest for life, their refusal to be caged. This magnetism makes them not only great companions but also strong leaders, as others often feel compelled to follow their energy. Yet, as with all powerful numbers, the shadow of 5 is just as real. Its gift of variety can easily turn into instability. For March 23 individuals, this means a constant struggle against scattering their energy in too many directions. They may start dozens of projects but finish few, leaving trails of half-lived dreams behind them. Their thirst for novelty can sometimes manifest as restlessness, even recklessness, driving them to chase thrills without considering long-term consequences. If they are not careful, the very freedom they crave can spiral into chaos, leaving them ungrounded. The lesson of 5, therefore, is to embrace freedom while also cultivating focus. For March 23 Aries, this means learning when to let the fire of their spirit roam and when to channel it into meaningful endeavors. When they master this balance, they become unstoppable, travelers who not only chase horizons but also build legacies. Their gift is not simply to move, but to inspire movement in others. They remind the world that life is not meant to be lived in confinement, that evolution is the essence of existence, and that true freedom lies in the courage to keep growing. Ultimately, the number 5 imbues those born on March 23 with a spirit that is alive, curious, and endlessly transformative. It is the pulse of adventure in their blood, the spark in their conversations, the drive behind their creativity. They are not meant to stay in one place, one role, or one idea for too long. Instead, they are meant to embody the eternal truth of 5, that life is a journey, not a cage, and that reinvention is the most natural act of all. The Celtic druid horoscope. Long before modern astrology, the ancient druids of the Celtic world looked to the trees as living symbols of human destiny. They believed that every birth was tied to a sacred tree, whose spirit whispered wisdom, power, and guidance into the lives of those born under its branches. For those arriving around March 23, the influence falls under the hazel tree or, depending on the year and cycle, the alder tree. These trees carry very different yet complementary energies, and together they weave a fascinating picture of the March 23 soul. The hazel tree, in druidic lore, is the tree of wisdom, inspiration, and sudden flashes of genius. Its nuts were said to contain knowledge, and its branches were often used in divination. To be born under hazel is to carry within oneself an almost magical intuition, the ability to see connections others miss, to have moments of insight that seem to come from nowhere. For March 23 Aries, this hazel influence combines with their fiery personality to create a rare blend, wisdom that arrives not through long study or patient contemplation, but in bursts of clarity, like lightning cutting across the sky. They are the ones who speak truths unexpectedly, who solve problems in seconds, who seem to know without knowing how they know. This hazel inspiration gives their Aries fire depth. Where Aries energy is often impulsive and action-driven, hazel adds a layer of thought, intuition, and subtle guidance. It tempers the recklessness of fire with sudden wisdom, giving March 23 individuals an almost prophetic edge. Their instincts are sharp, and when they listen to them, they often find themselves guided down the right paths, even if those paths appear risky to others. The alder tree, on the other hand, brings courage, leadership, and fiery determination. In Celtic tradition, the alder was a warrior's tree, associated with strength, resilience, and the ability to inspire armies. To be born under alder is to be a pioneer, a leader who does not hesitate to take the front lines. When this energy merges with Aries, it doubles down on their natural boldness, confirming their destiny as initiators and trailblazers. These individuals do not wait for change, they embody it. They stand firm in the face of adversity, and even when they fall, they rise again with the kind of resilience that earns them deep respect. Together, hazel and alder create a dynamic duality. Hazel gifts flashes of insight, while alder provides the strength to act on those insights. Hazel whispers wisdom, alder roars courage. Hazel inspires, alder leads. March 23 individuals embody this union, living as both dreamers and doers, visionaries and warriors. They have the capacity not only to imagine new possibilities but also to fight for them, bringing their visions into reality. The Celtic druids saw such souls as carriers of fiery inspiration, people whose lives were meant to awaken others. Just as the hazel was revered for its wisdom and the alder for its bravery, March 23rd Aries are destined to guide and motivate, often without even realizing the power they hold. Their very presence challenges others to think differently, to act more boldly, to embrace both intuition and courage in their own lives. However, the druidic trees also reveal their challenges. Hazel influence can make them overconfident in sudden flashes of insight, leading them to act prematurely on ideas not yet ready. Alder influence can make them overly combative, eager to fight when diplomacy might suffice. For these individuals, balance is once again the key. To know when to trust intuition, when to channel courage, and when to let patience guide the fire. Ultimately, the Celtic tree horoscope paints those born on March 23rd as fiery visionaries guided by ancient wisdom. They are both the intuitive seers and the courageous leaders, combining flashes of genius with the daring to act. They carry within them the strength of the alder warrior and the insight of the hazel sage. And just as the druids believed trees stood as bridges between heaven and earth, March 23rd souls stand as bridges between vision and reality, rooted in courage, reaching always toward inspiration. Vedic astrology perspective. When viewed through the lens of Vedic astrology, the birth date of March 23rd carries a unique astrological tension, one foot in the world of Pisces Meena Rashi and the other edging toward Aries. This is because Vedic astrology, based on the sidereal zodiac, often places the sun at this time still within Pisces, though very close to the cusp of Aries. The result is a fascinating dual nature. A soul shaped by the assertive flame of Aries in Western astrology, yet softened, deepened, and spiritualized by the Piscean waters of the Vedic tradition. Pisces, in Vedic thought, is not merely about sensitivity or imagination. It is the sign of dissolution, transcendence, and union with the greater whole. Souls born under Meena Rashi are often dreamers, mystics, and visionaries, people who feel life's subtler currents and are drawn toward the unseen. To have this Piscean imprint while carrying the Aries fire creates a rare type of personality, both warrior and mystic, conqueror and dreamer. They embody a paradox, able to lead in the external world with confidence and daring, while at the same time carrying an internal compass tuned toward the spiritual and the eternal. This duality often gives March 23rd individuals an almost magnetic complexity. On the surface, they may appear bold, assertive, and restless, pushing forward with Aries-like determination. Yet those who look deeper notice moments of quiet intuition, compassion, and a longing for something greater than personal achievement. They are not satisfied with victories that only feed the ego. They crave victories that nourish the soul. Whether through service, teaching, creative expression, or healing, they are at their best when their fire is guided by higher ideals. Vedic astrology also emphasizes nakshatras, lunar mansions that refine the personality. Depending on the exact year and hour of birth, March the 23rd of may fall under Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra or shift toward Revati Nakshatra, both of which amplify spiritual and compassionate qualities. Uttara Bhadrapada is associated with depth, patience, and the ability to see beneath appearances. It is ruled by Saturn but carries a hidden flame, granting endurance and the strength to support others. Revati, the very last nakshatra of the zodiac, is ruled by Mercury and symbolizes guidance, safe passage, and nurturance. It blesses individuals with a natural role as protectors and guides, shepherding others through life's challenges with grace. Combined with the Aries boldness of Western astrology, these nakshatras explain why March 23rd people often inspire not only through action but also through wisdom. They are leaders who do not simply push people forward but guide them with compassion. They are motivators who ignite the flame of courage while simultaneously offering emotional safety. Their personality is not one-dimensional. It is the union of fire and water, ambition and intuition, drive and surrender. Another important Vedic perspective is the ruling planet. While Western Aries is ruled by Mars, fiery and aggressive, Vedic Pisces is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of wisdom, philosophy, and expansion. This planetary duality gifts March 23 individuals with both the boldness of Mars and the expansiveness of Jupiter. They are not just fighters, they are strategists. They are not merely doers, they are thinkers who seek meaning in their actions. This blend often draws them toward mystical practices such as meditation, yoga, or spiritual philosophy, even as they remain rooted in worldly pursuits like leadership, business, or the arts. At times, this dual influence can create inner conflict. The Aries side craves speed, conquest, and achievement, while the Piscean side longs for reflection, compassion, and surrender. They may feel torn between running ahead to claim victories and slowing down to listen to the whispers of their soul. This tension can make them appear unpredictable, even to themselves. But when harmonized, this dual nature makes them luminous. Leaders with heart, dreamers with courage, and warriors who fight not just for themselves but for ideals larger than life. In the Vedic worldview, March 23 births are seen as souls who incarnate to bridge the material and spiritual realms. They are reminders that courage can be compassionate, that ambition can serve higher truths, and that leadership is most powerful when it comes not just from fire but also from wisdom. The Flower Horoscope. Every birth date carries not only planetary influences but also symbolic ties to the natural world, and for those born on March 23, the flower most often linked to their spirit is the tulip. At first glance, this may seem like a simple spring bloom, yet the tulip has carried rich meaning for centuries, symbolizing passion, declaration of love, and the vibrant renewal of life itself. To understand March 23 individuals through this floral lens is to see how their souls mirror the tulip's radiant, unapologetic beauty. Tulips burst forth in early spring, pushing through the last chills of winter with determination and grace. Likewise, those born on this date embody renewal, vitality, and bold expression. They are the ones who bring color into people's lives, who step into situations with a brightness that cannot be ignored. Just as a field of tulips transforms a dull landscape into a breathtaking vision, March 23 personalities transform their environments with their energy, optimism, and warmth. The tulip is not shy about its presence, and neither are these individuals. They express emotions openly and directly, rarely concealing what is in their hearts. If they love, they declare it passionately, often dramatically, much like the vivid bloom of a red tulip announcing itself to the world. If they are inspired, they show it immediately, sparking enthusiasm in those around them. Their authenticity is one of their greatest strengths. They don't hide behind layers of subtlety, but instead choose to live boldly and transparently, like a flower that never hesitates to bloom. Different colors of tulips also reflect different aspects of their personality. The red tulip, symbol of deep passion and love, mirrors their fiery romantic side. Yellow tulips, associated with friendship and joy, reflect their ability to spread happiness and laughter within their social circles. Purple tulips, signifying nobility and aspiration, capture their ambition and natural magnetism. And white tulips, symbols of forgiveness and purity, resonate with their occasional moments of Piscean compassion and spiritual depth. The tulip, therefore, does not represent just one facet of their being but the entire spectrum of their vibrant, multifaceted nature. Historically, tulips were so treasured in the 17th century that they sparked tulip mania in Europe, becoming symbols of desire and obsession. In the same way, March 23 individuals often evoke fascination in others. Their charm, vitality, and bold presence can make them highly desirable companions, partners, and leaders. Like tulips, they do not beg for attention, yet they inevitably draw it, embodying a natural magnetism that cannot be overlooked. The tulip also carries a reminder of resilience. Though delicate in appearance, it is one of the first flowers to bloom after winter, pushing through cold soil to reach the light. Similarly, March 23 souls are resilient beings. Life may test them with challenges, but they rise again and again, blooming brighter with each season. Their setbacks are temporary winters, and their comebacks are springtime fields of color. In the symbolic language of flowers, tulips declare love and passion without hesitation. For those born on this date, This mirrors their directness in relationships and in life. They are not ones to hide feelings, nor to live half-heartedly. Just as a tulip blooms fully or not at all, they throw themselves into life with completeness, leaving no room for lukewarm efforts. Ultimately, the tulip reveals the essence of March 23rd individuals: vibrant, passionate, resilient, and unafraid to stand tall in full expression of their being. They are the human embodiment of spring itself, bold, alive, and forever bringing renewal and color into the lives of those fortunate enough to know them. The stone horoscope. For those born on March 23rd, the stones most closely aligned with their destiny are aquamarine and bloodstone, two gems that appear opposite in essence yet deeply complementary in meaning. Together, they form a symbolic reflection of the March 23rd spirit: bold fire wrapped in clarity, unstoppable will tempered with serenity, an untamed flame balanced by wisdom drawn from the depths of the earth and the sea. Aquamarine, with its serene blue hues reminiscent of a calm ocean, is more than a jewel. It is a whisper of stillness in the midst of chaos. For the fiery Aries soul, so prone to bursts of energy, restlessness, and impulsive action, aquamarine acts as a calming tide that washes away excess heat. It invites patience, steadiness, and clarity of thought. Historically, sailors carried aquamarine for safe passage across stormy seas, and in a symbolic sense, those born on March 23rd carry it for safe passage across the tempests of their own passions. It cools the flames when they risk burning too hot, reminding them that strength is not only in fire but also in the ability to remain calm when storms rage. Spiritually, aquamarine is tied to courage, not the brute force courage of charging into battle, but the deeper, more refined courage of truth-telling, honesty, and facing life with clarity. It is the stone of communication, clearing the throat chakra, allowing these bold individuals to express themselves with transparency and fairness. With aquamarine, their fiery ideas find not only volume but resonance, their words carrying calm authority instead of reckless heat. This makes them not only passionate leaders but also wise communicators who inspire trust. Bloodstone, on the other hand, is the opposite in nature: dark green flecked with crimson, pulsing with vitality, determination, and raw strength. Known since ancient times as a warrior's stone, it symbolizes endurance, grounding, and unshakable will. Where aquamarine calms, bloodstone ignites. It fortifies the physical body, boosts stamina, and aligns perfectly with the March 23rd spirit of action, risk-taking, and fearless pursuit of challenge. It is a reminder that passion is not only mental fire but also physical vitality, the stamina to keep pushing, the grit to keep fighting, the life force that drives them through obstacles. Together, these two stones create a perfect balance. Aquamarine smooths the impulsivity of Aries energy, helping March 23rd individuals avoid burning themselves out, while bloodstone reinforces their determination, ensuring they never lose their spark. Aquamarine teaches them serenity. Bloodstone teaches them resilience. One is water, the other is earth, and when combined with the Aries fire that defines them, these three elements create a soul both unstoppable and wise. Metaphorically, aquamarine whispers, breathe, see clearly, let your spirit settle. Bloodstone roars, stand tall, endure, fight with strength. In the lives of March 23rd souls, both voices are needed, both forces are alive, and both stones serve as guardians on their journey. They symbolize not only who these people are but who they strive to become: fierce, fiery, and determined, yet capable of stillness, wisdom, and clarity when the moment demands it. For those who embrace gemstone energy, keeping aquamarine close may help them find calm in moments of inner restlessness, while carrying bloodstone may recharge their vitality and sharpen their sense of purpose. And even for those who do not believe in such symbolism, the imagery of these stones serves as a powerful metaphor, a reminder that the March 23rd individual is not only fire but also the ability to channel that fire with elegance and endurance. Compatibility with other zodiac signs. When it comes to compatibility, March 23rd individuals embody the essence of Aries fire: bold, adventurous, restless, and endlessly curious. They are magnetic, inspiring, and alive, yet their intensity means they do not blend seamlessly with everyone. Their relationships, whether friendships, romances, or partnerships, tend to be powerful, dynamic, and transformative, either burning brightly or crashing spectacularly. Examining compatibility reveals much about how their fiery spirit interacts with others. Their best matches are often found in Leo, Sagittarius, Gemini, and Libra. With Leo, they find a partner who understands passion and thrives on the same level of drama, enthusiasm, and bold expression. Both Aries and Leo are natural leaders, and together they create a partnership that is not only filled with sparks but also mutual admiration. There may be moments of rivalry, but their shared fire keeps things vibrant, never dull. With Sagittarius, the connection is equally powerful, though lighter and more adventurous. Both are seekers, explorers of life, restless souls who hate being tied down. Aries provides the bold push forward, while Sagittarius brings philosophical depth and a sense of humor that keeps the bond free from heaviness. Together, they become a traveling flame, wandering into new experiences and adventures, rarely looking back. Gemini adds a different flavor, an intellectual match that sparks Aries' curiosity. While Aries brings boldness and courage, Gemini offers quick wit and adaptability. Aries charges ahead, Gemini keeps things flexible, and together they create a lively, playful, and often mischievous bond. It may lack grounding, but it never lacks excitement. Libra, on the other hand, offers balance. Opposite signs in the zodiac, Aries and Libra form a magnetic axis. Where Aries is bold and sometimes reckless, Libra is diplomatic and thoughtful. Together, they can create a dynamic partnership of fire and air, where Aries pushes forward and Libra smooths the path. This match works best when Libra does not suppress Aries' fire but instead channels it toward harmony. Challenging matches often appear with Cancer and Capricorn. Cancer, deeply sensitive and protective, may find Aries too reckless, too impulsive, too unwilling to pause and nurture the bond with quiet tenderness. Aries may feel suffocated by Cancer's need for emotional security, while Cancer may feel abandoned by Aries' need for freedom. It can work, but only with patience and compromise on both sides. Capricorn presents another challenge, being practical, cautious, and heavily grounded in responsibility. Where Aries wants to leap, Capricorn insists on careful planning. Where Aries wants to explore, Capricorn prefers to build steadily. The result can feel frustrating, like a spark trying to ignite wet wood. However, if they learn to respect each other, Aries admiring Capricorn's discipline, Capricorn admiring Aries' courage, they can form a strong, though unconventional, bond. Surprising matches emerge with Aquarius and Pisces. Aquarius brings an unconventional, visionary perspective that intrigues Aries. Both are independent, forward-thinking, and resistant to being caged. Aries admires Aquarius' originality, while Aquarius enjoys Aries' courage. Their connection may feel like two rebels joining forces, shaking the world around them. Pisces, meanwhile, may seem an odd match at first glance, being gentle, sensitive, and dreamy. Yet this very softness can intrigue Aries. Pisces provides emotional depth and spiritual intuition, qualities that Aries secretly craves but does not easily access. Aries, in turn, gives Pisces courage and protection. This combination can either blossom into a union of warrior and dreamer or collapse under the weight of their differences. When it works, it is one of the most transformative bonds Aries can experience. Ultimately, compatibility for March 23 individuals is less about finding the perfect sign and more about finding someone who can match their fire without extinguishing it, who can admire their boldness while grounding them with love, patience, or shared adventure. They thrive with those who embrace their intensity rather than fear it, and they struggle with those who try to confine or control them. Their relationships are not built on quiet stability but on sparks, passion, and the willingness to grow together. In summary, to speak of those born on March 23 is to speak of fire itself, not a tame hearth flame, but a torch carried high, a spark leaping fearlessly into the unknown, a blaze that cannot be confined. They are the pioneers of spring, the heralds of fresh beginnings, the ones who burst into the world with restless spirits and boundless energy. Their lives are not quiet rivers meandering toward calm seas. They are roaring rapids, thrilling cascades, sometimes unpredictable, sometimes overwhelming, but always unforgettable. At the core of their being lies passion. They are people who feel deeply, who love fiercely, who throw themselves into experiences with both feet and without hesitation. Whether in romance, friendship, career, or personal dreams, they refuse to live half-heartedly. Every pursuit is infused with urgency, vitality, and a refusal to settle for mediocrity. They are natural leaders not because they seek control, but because their fire is so magnetic that others cannot help but be drawn into its light. People follow them not out of obligation, but out of inspiration, because they see in the March 23rd soul the courage to live authentically, unapologetically, and fully alive. Yet every fire casts a shadow, and the shadows of these individuals are impatience, impulsivity, and occasional selfishness. Their restless energy makes them leap before they look, begin before they plan, and sometimes abandon projects before they bloom. They may scorch the ground they walk on in their eagerness to reach the next horizon. They may burn bridges when their passion blinds them to diplomacy. Their lesson, lifelong and profound, is to learn the art of balance, to allow their flames to warm and guide without consuming everything in their path. When they cultivate patience, when they learn to channel their energy rather than let it scatter, their fire transforms from a fleeting spark into a steady, enduring torch. Freedom is their lifeblood. To cage them, to demand conformity, to suppress their individuality, is to suffocate their spirit. They thrive in spaces where they are allowed to explore, to experiment, to reinvent themselves endlessly. And yet, their freedom is not recklessness, it is a sacred principle that reminds the world that individuality matters. They show others that one can be loyal while still being independent, committed while still being adventurous, rooted while still reaching for the stars. Optimism is another defining trait. Even in the face of setbacks, March 23rd individuals carry an inner flame that refuses to die out. They see life not as a series of defeats but as a chain of challenges, each one an opportunity to prove their strength, creativity, and resilience. This optimism is contagious. It lifts those around them, turning despair into possibility, darkness into light. They may not always realize it, but their very presence often inspires others to take risks, to dream bigger, and to believe in themselves. Their destiny is not a small one. They are not here to drift quietly, to live unnoticed, or to settle for safety. Their mission is to blaze trails, to break barriers, to remind the world of the thrill of daring. They are innovators, motivators, catalysts for change. Whether in business, art, social causes, or personal relationships, they carry within them the potential to spark revolutions, not necessarily on grand global scales, but in the intimate revolutions of hearts and minds. The friend who inspires someone to chase a dream, the lover who shows a partner what passion really feels like, the leader who pushes a team to rise above fear, these are their gifts to the world. And if you know someone born on this day, you know the truth of it already. You've seen the way they light up a room with energy, how their laughter is contagious, how their enthusiasm pulls people into new adventures. You've probably been swept along on one of their impulsive ideas, a midnight drive, a spontaneous project, a wild scheme that seemed impossible but suddenly felt irresistible because of their conviction. They frustrate you sometimes, perhaps, with their impatience, with their inability to sit still, with their fiery temper when things don't go their way. But you forgive them, because their fire is genuine, and it is the kind of fire that leaves a mark on your life. Cherish that fire. Protect it, not by trying to contain it, but by giving it space to grow. Support their dreams, no matter how outlandish, because March 23rd souls often accomplish what others only dare to imagine. Celebrate their individuality, because their authenticity is a gift in a world so often dulled by conformity. And above all, let their flame remind you that life is not meant to be endured quietly, it is meant to be lived boldly, passionately, and without apology. For in the end, March 23rd individuals are not just people, they are experiences. They are the thrill of spring's first warm breeze, the exhilaration of a daring leap, the rush of adrenaline that comes from believing anything is possible. They stumble, yes. They falter, certainly. But they rise again with even greater fire, lighting the way for those who walk beside them. If you were fortunate enough to share your life with a March 23rd soul, as a partner, a friend, a colleague, or a family member, you are standing in the presence of a flame that can light up the world. And though fire may sometimes burn, it also illuminates, it warms, and it guides. With their boundless energy, their fearless optimism, and their unshakable drive to inspire, these individuals are destined to leave behind a legacy of light that no darkness can erase.